What's up, my Canadian cousins? How are you guys today? So today is July 3rd. We will be celebrating the 4th of July here in the United States. And to me, I did a Canada Day video a couple of days ago. This also has a particularly strong meaning to me. I decided, rather than rejecting the holiday because of, this MAGA lunatic in our White House is co-opting the American flag and co-opting what it means to be an American. Several Saturdays ago, there were millions upon millions of Americans who went out into the streets with American flags to protest against the ICE raids and against a lot of the other horrendous policies of the Trump administration. You saw Canadian flags out there. There have been specific rallies in support of Canada over the last several months. And, so as far as I'm concerned, I'm American. I have every right to celebrate the 4th of July and celebrate the nation as I have known it and as I wish it to be, and the values that I and so many like me hold dear, values that I think I share with a lot of you guys. So, in that regard, screw them. I'm going to celebrate it. I'm going to celebrate it my way, with my friends, with my people. But one of the things I did miss when celebrating Canada Day with you is because I filmed that in the morning. I did not know that the Empire State Building lit up the top of the building in red and white in support of the Canadian diplomatic mission in New York specifically, but in support and solidarity with Canada generally. Now, you probably know that New York did not vote for Trump. My state voted against Trump in this past presidential election. We have strong ties with Canada, strong economic ties, and of course New York is being hurt by the insane trade war that Trump launched against Canada and Canada's rightful retaliation. It's not a fight that New Yorkers wanted, and New Yorkers, have in many respects have tried to show their support for Canada. So the top of the Empire State Building gets lit up frequently so tomorrow it will be in red, white, and blue. When a New York sports team wins, it'll be the colors of that sports team, whether it be the Yankees, the Mets, the Islanders, the Rangers. Well, none of those teams have won in a long time. New York City Football Club, the soccer team, or other, celebrating the diversity that exists in New York City, whether it be Indian Independence Day and you've got the tricolored flag of India at the top of the Empire State Building. Well, this year on Canada Day, powers that be in the city that make this determination, and it could just be the building owners of the Empire State Building, but I'm not sure that that's actually true. I think it's larger than that. Well, anyway, they lit up the top of the Empire State Building in red and white for Canada Day. Similarly, the Freedom Tower downtown, what replaced the World Trade Center, was also lit up in red and white. And it really made for a stunning statement and a beautiful example out of the New York City skyline in support of you guys. I know some of you just are past this at this point and don't really care. Some of you, I think, do, and are glad to see that there are people south of the border, and there are regions and there are cities that do care about this relationship. I'm under no illusions, and if I'm being cynical, I do understand that New York tourism is probably suffering from the Canadian boycott. And, maybe there was a calculation as far as the tourism goes to do this, to make this gesture. But whether that works or not, I guess remains to be seen. But I like to be not so cynical and to appreciate it for, the simple gesture that it was. And, to also say that Canada Day, and I said this last year, is an official day of recognition in the state of New York. Our governor, Kathy Hochul, made it that way. It was either last year or the year before, I don't recall yet, to make July 1st Canada Day in New York to celebrate the historic economic and familial ties, defense cooperation, and all of that New York has historically had with Canada, being a border state with both Ontario and Quebec. And so, that happened long before Trump was elected and long before Trump attacked Canada. This has been something that New York has sincerely done, not just as a gesture to win back tourists that are no longer coming into our state. But I know, regions along in the Adirondack Mountains and such, and I'm sure New York City and other locations are suffering from the lack of Canadian visitors. And, frankly, I understand why chambers of commerce and tourism bureaus are taking some action to try to recover some of that tourism business. But most of us citizens of New York understand why you're doing it, and we encourage you to continue. If it makes you feel any better, the Tangerine Tyrant just threatened to remove the New York City from the United States. Not that he can do that constitutionally, but he threatened to do it and cut off all federal funding because a young Muslim man recently won the Democratic primary for the mayoral election and has a very good shot at winning the election for mayor. And he said if this Muslim is elected, that he's going to cut New York off, New York City, that it will no longer be part of the United States, and that it will no longer get federal funding, which I find ironic since New York State is a net exporter of funds to the federal government and money we get back on our taxes, and that's largely owing to New York City and its surrounding suburbs, of which I live in one. So yeah, good luck with that. But look, if he does, if that were to ever come to fruition, would you guys like to take us? Can we join you? Can New York City and its surrounding suburbs join Canada? Go ahead, Donald, do it. Anyway, my friends, I just wanted to check in with you guys quickly and let you know that, because I thought that was really cool. And by the way, the person who tipped me off to that was my mom, because she is one of I think my biggest fans of my videos, and while never comments in the comment section, texts me afterwards to tell me what she thinks. So thank you, Mom. All right, my friends, hope you have a wonderful weekend, and to be continued. Looking forward to posting more content. If you like this content and you'd like to see more, please like and subscribe if you're not already, and I will see you soon, my friends. Peace.